This is the home of the Blackhawk Search and Rescue Squadron. The combat camouflage on the hulls of the waiting choppers betrays the unique role of rescue pilots in the Israeli Air Force. Unlike other search and rescue teams throughout the world, the Blackhawks fulfill a dual role, that of civilian rescue and combat operations. They could be called to evacuate wounded soldiers under fire or down jet pilots, while a week later, they may be called to rescue hikers from a flooded desert canyon. Colonel A is the unit commander. For security reasons, his face must remain hidden.
The squadron was established in 1953 after a French sponsor donated 2 rescue helicopters to the army. Its main mission was evacuation and rescue. The first mission of this unit was to rescue a woman about to give birth in a place where there was flooding and no way to reach her. Since then, the squadron has rescued about 12,000 civilians as well as soldiers.
In the Pilots Club, the plaques on the wall testify to the squadron's distinguished operations record and its motto, any mission at any time at any place. Flying rescue operations is a source of pride in the squadron, and competition for the most rescues is fierce among the pilots. In the briefing room, a map keeps track of the latest score. The map reveals that there is hardly a spot in Israel where this helicopter unit have not performed a live rescue. Yanni and Yedidya finally reached their destination. There is a belief in the squadron that when you punch the security code, all differences are laid aside.
The differences between we and Yedidya disappear. We all know our work. At the end of the day, it's our profession. We have a mission, and we know what our mission is.
We put on our pilot uniform and our headgear, and we all look the same underneath, just doing our job.
Today, Yedidya heads a training mission. He will be joined by Yanni as his co-pilot. While both are Blackhawk commanders, neither have a problem deferring to the other. M16 rifles are standard, a stark reminder that crews can find themselves under fire at any time. But with luck, the only extreme element the team will have to contend with is a rescue exercise at sea, which is dangerous enough. In the dead of winter, a ship is at the mercy of the waves off the coast of southern Israel. It is an event like this that they are training for. These images, taken by an amateur, fail to capture the drama on deck as the terrified sailors prepare to jump to certain death in the freezing water. A tragedy narrowly avoided thanks to rescue helicopters and the team effort between the chopper pilots and specially trained infantry soldiers. The soldiers are from the elite rescue unit 669, and they join Yanni and Yedidya in today's exercise. Among them is a paramedic. A woman in a man's world, Ravit is one of only 2 women in 669. To qualify for the unit, she has had to undergo the same rigorous training.
I heard that there is a unit in the army where there are paramedics in a flying rescue unit, and from the first day I was recruited to the army, I wanted to be a flying paramedic. I was very persistent, I went on interviews, I bagged whoever I could. I tried to get the best grade so they will have a reason to take me on. And eventually I made it. I got what I wanted. It's true that in the unit the majority are men and we are only few women. But that's what's fun about it. You feel as though you're doing something that not too many people have done before.
Developed by Sikorsky in 1976, the UH-60 Blackhawk, or Owl, as it was nicknamed by Israeli pilots, first saw operational service in Israel in 1994. Since then, the Blackhawk has gained a well-deserved reputation for its high maneuverability and survivability. 2 strong engines, 1,500 horsepower each, and high cargo carrying capacity, making it the optimal helicopter for complex and difficult rescue and transport missions over long distances. For the Israeli pilots who flew the Owl, it was love at first sight.
In terms of helicopters, it's a special one, unique. It is very comfortable. You don't have to deal with all kinds of obstacles you are normally preoccupied with in other helicopters. It's a joy.
I really love it. When I come to the line to inspect it, I really appreciate everything about this helicopter. I developed these feelings for the past 5 years since I have been flying the Blackhawk.
The Blackhawk is not a helicopter. It's something else altogether.
Only elite pilots get to fly these machines. Sweating it out on the ground is merely a prelude to the long and grueling apprenticeship in the Air Force Academy. By the time they move on, most of these cadets will have been eliminated in the tough competition, with only 12% of the cadets surviving the ordeal. Like all experienced pilots, Yanni is required as part of his service to spend time in flying school, teaching young cadets.
In this flying school, I'm supposed to prepare a young pilot so that he knows the necessary skills and how to work as part of a team. But what is important for me is not the perfection of his skills. He will have plenty of time to do that after he graduates. The most important thing for me is to test his character.
It will be up to Yanni to test the young cadet's skills and to either eliminate him from the course or recommend that he finish and become a pilot. Today, he is flying with 19-year-old Moshe.
This is my ambition, to have a live rescue and to feel that I saved lives. This is what I hope will happen to me in my career. This is my dream. To have the feeling of a live rescue and to know that I saved someone else's life.
It is for such an event that Yedidya, Yanni, and their crew train endlessly. Every rescue has its own special difficulties, but sea rescue poses a very different set of problems. The main problem at sea is orientation. Unlike over land, there are no landmarks to orient the pilot while hovering. Locating the survivors is an added challenge, since they tend to drift with the current. Yedidya knows the consequences all too well. His first rescue mission was over water.
We suddenly received a call for a rescue at sea, at night. It is a wet dream of every pilot, and even more so of a young pilot. A sea rescue at night. A real thing, and not a drill.
The information he received was vague. An unknown swimmer had drifted deep into the Dead Sea. It was a dark night. Although his special night goggles aided his sight, they also narrowed his field of vision. All factors that weighed heavily on Yedidya's lonely responsibility that night.
I definitely remember sweating. I kept reminding myself that this one was a real rescue and I was performing it. This was not a drill I could just hand over to someone else saying I can't do it. I have to do it and get it done with.
Yedidya had been hovering for over 30 minutes without success. Despite his night goggles, he couldn't see anything. He was ready to give up when, out of nowhere, he spotted what he thought to be a body.
Suddenly I saw some movement on the right. It could have been a wave. It was so subtle. But we stopped to identify. We thought it was a movement of the hand. It was a woman. A heavy-set Arab movement from Jericho.
Because of the woman's weight, it took time to get her into a harness and up to the hovering chopper. Precious time was slipping away. In spite of all their efforts to save her, she died just as the Blackhawk turned west to Jerusalem and the doctors that awaited her.